Okay, well, hi everyone, and thank you very much for watching or listening wherever you are around the world. It's Liam Hartery back with you today with another episode of the Simply Inspired podcast. And today I have a very, very special guest. And I would like to say before we begin that I'm truly honored and humbled to welcome this man to the show today, Bhante Saranapala. Hopefully, I'm saying that the right way again.
Got it. You got
Oh,
it.
wonderful, wonderful. And very briefly, sorry to talk about you in third person, my friend, but very briefly, it's lovely to have you here. And for our viewers, this man actually needs no introduction from me, but I will give a very brief one for anyone who doesn't know. I've actually got a list of achievements here, and over 35 years as a Buddhist monk, a teacher, an international speaker all around the world, an author. As you can see, that is Bante's book in the background there. We'll talk more about that later. Known as the urban Buddhist monk, and this man teaches kindfulness. We'll find out more about that very soon, as well as mindfulness, particularly with a focus on first responders. But many other kinds of people as well. And for over 25 years, he has been teaching the Dharma and meditation for a growing number of people seeking spiritual, healthy life. I'm going to broadly say inner peace, but we will find out more about that later as well. And he is the recipient of many awards, probably too many to list, but a few of them here. Recipient of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms from the Government of Canada, recipient of the Canada 150 Medal, and the I don't even know how you say that, Sesquicentennial Community Award from the Government of Canada, many more awards listed there as well. And so I don't forget, PhD in Religious Studies and owns his own conference. I think conference is the right phrase to use for it. Gathering Canada, a Mindful and Kind Nation. So there's a lot more, guys, but you get the gist. This man is doing some incredible work, touching so many lives through his philosophy and through his very presence, which I can feel sitting here today. So thank you, Bante, for making the time for this. It really is an honor, and I'm very grateful to have you here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Liam, for having me on your podcast. You have been actually working so hard to have this special episode with me, and you live in different time zone. I live in different time zone. So finally, we made it happen. So here we are having these kind of conversations. And I'm very grateful to you having this special episode to bring more positivity into the world. So we can just have a very friendly, kindful conversation. Don't feel any stress, just relax, just breathe and relax, and no need to judge. Just try to understand the message and what we are trying to do in the world, how we make the world a better and more and kinder place for everyone.
Absolutely. Well, a wonderful introduction. I will, and believe me, no stress because, as I mentioned earlier, your very presence is a wonderful feeling. So thank you for that. It has been a stressful day, but it is wonderful that we can connect around the world, isn't it? It's remarkable. I'm always grateful for that. Canada to Cyprus, absolutely amazing. 7 hours difference, wonderful. So
Yeah, maybe one day soon we can have some kindful sessions in Cyprus.
I hope so. I hope so. I mean, it would be wonderful. There's a really wonderful spiritual community here and people who are trying to develop in this type of way. Some good teachers. I think we need more conferences and more people to come to the island. So that would be absolutely wonderful. But let's talk about you because that's why we're here. And I don't always go back to the beginning, to be honest. But in your case, I would like to touch very briefly on the beginning of your journey in terms of where you were born and becoming a monk at a very young age, but also the fact that you continued with that path. It's one thing to start off as a child, but even as a young adult, you weren't tempted away from the Buddhist path. You stayed with it all the way to the present day. So I would like to talk about that time in the beginning, please, and how you became a monk. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Liam. Well, my beginning of a spiritual journey goes back to Bangladesh. That's where I was born. Uh, Bangladesh, of course, is a Islamic country now, but in the history, it used to be a Buddhist region. So my Bengali parents and grandparents, their root goes back to that Bengali Buddhist tradition in the history. So there is a custom, cultural practice among the Bengali Buddhists. Every boy should become a monk for a short time. So, so I think I became a monk for a short time, but I remained as a monk for good. So what happened was one day my teacher, who is still actually living in Bangladesh, he is going to be 100 this November. And so he went to our village, and so in the evening, we children, gathered at the village temple, and after chanting and meditation, we went to pay our respect to this visiting monk. And so he asked a question from all the children. I said, "Who would like to become a monk?" So I said, no, everybody remained very quiet, but I raised my hand. I said, "I would like to become a monk." So apparently he knew my parents. So he said, "Why don't you ask your parents to come and talk to me?" Because he needs my parents' consent to make me a monk. So I went home and I told my parents that our teacher would like to see them. So my parents went to the temple with me following in the morning, and then he said, "Oh, your son said he would like to become monk. What do you think?" So they said, "Okay." Well, why not? Maybe they thought it's just for the time being, for the temporary ordination. So they gave their consent. My teacher took me to his temple in another village. So he ordained me. And after my ordination, he sent a group of novice monks to Sri Lanka for monastic training and education. So I was one of them. And so in Sri Lanka, I was very fortunate to received the training from another prominent teacher. So there are great prominent teachers I met. And so at that monastery, by then there were more than 100 monks living together, receiving training together. So they had a daily schedule, getting up early in the morning, and that program continues till 9 p.m. So I think I fell in love with that monastic life there, and I focused on my studies. So then I received my monastic education training there, very systematic training. I also received meditation training from some great meditation masters in Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka is, by the way, it's a beautiful island and it's a tourist destination. So, Liam, I would like you to encourage to visit Sri Lanka one day if you have time.
I will. I will. It's on my list. It is
Yeah,
definitely on the bucket list,
yeah.
along with a few other places in Asia that I definitely will.
People are very, very hospitable, very kind, very generous, and very good people. So anyway, so I received their kindness, and I grew up there, and I'm very grateful to my Sri Lankan teachers, Sri Lankan devotees. Some of them still are in touch with me, and so they are very proud of me for what I'm doing. And so then my Sri Lankan teacher sent me to Canada, the Buddhist center that I'm staying at. And so when I came here, then I continued with my studies, and I studied at the University of Toronto and McMaster University. I specialized in religious studies, Western philosophy, and psychology. And so what happened was, of course, in during my training in Sri Lanka, I used to do a lot of good work with the people, helping people. And there's a weekly program I used to be part of that is called, we call Kiridana, that is a gift of giving a cup of milk tea to the people, to the patients in the hospital. And we also used to collect items, used items, and also new items to distribute to the people in the troubled region at the time. Sri Lanka had a civil war, so there are a lot of displaced people and refugees. So we used to help them a lot with our teachers. And so I have those good memories. And then when I came to this country, Canada, then I wanted to continue with the same program. So I founded a youth group, and I started doing soup kitchens, helping the homeless people on the street. And I started this in 1995, by the way. So I still continue doing those work and sharing caring program. Now, the major reason behind remaining as a monk till now, those days when I was growing up as a teen monk, I didn't have actually the intention of remaining as a monk. There were times that I was kind of disappointed. Maybe I wanted to go back to the lay life. But thanks to our teachers, with their blessings and guidance, I remain as a monk. So I truly decided to remain as a monk after coming to Canada, seeing the real life struggles of the people. When I started doing chaplaincy work at the University of Toronto as a Buddhist chaplain, and these students would come to our office for student counseling. And so they kind of complain about the relationships, the boys, girls, and other struggles. And so then whatever I said, it was bringing a lot of hope and relief to these people. It was healing. So then I also I was running a weekly meditation class too since 1995, and it's still happening. And I see people from all walks of life, of all ages, attend my weekly sessions. And from 2000, I offered meditation retreats. And I see a lot of people attending these retreats, monthly retreats. And whatever I was teaching, it was of immense spiritual benefit to them. It was healing them. It was bringing so much joy and light into their life. And they were greatly appreciating what I do, what I teach, what I share. And that gave me more joy, more happiness. And so I decided to remain as a monk, to be there for the people, to help people. Because in there's a saying in Buddhist tradition, Buddhist philosophy, while you're liberating yourself, liberate others. While you're enlightening yourself, enlighten others. While you're crossing the ocean of troubles, sufferings, also help other sentient beings cross the ocean of struggles and suffering. And so then I thought, okay, so I think I have now dedicated my life to the practice of freedom from and liberation, from my own emancipation, liberation, and at the same time helping others to become liberated, become free through these simple teachings. And so that was uh, very satisfactory for me and very satisfying. And I decided to remain as a monk too. I was in academic life, by the way. I received a full-time teaching job, but then I said no to it to be there for the people around the world. And so then in addition to doing all these daily counsel sessions, weekly meditation classes, weekly teachings, public teachings, and travelings, then I wanted to really help people because I really love people. I want people to be happy, uh, healthy, peaceful, and I don't want people to fight. Even I remember from those days, I think I was the peacemaker, even even among our colleagues. Let's say in our childhood, even when I was a boy, if kids fight, I would intervene. I would say, "Hey guys, don't fight, please. Come on, we are friends. Why can't we just get along with each other? Come on, we are one family." And then in Sri Lanka, I did the same thing. So I think I was by nature I was a peacemaker. I was the bridge of peace and bringing people together. And I continued doing that, even through the social work, and so I wanted to help the people. So I started this global movement, calling every country a mindful and kind nation. So I started with Canada. So officially, I call Canada a mindful and kind nation. And so if people are interested in what we do, they can always visit our mission website, Canada, a mindfulnation.ca. And so that mission website has all the details. And so in addition to doing all this daily work, and annually I organize a conference. I call it Kindful Canada Symposium, a national conference on mental health and kindfulness. So kindfulness is the principle have introduced to the world, and I'm basically encouraging the world citizens to embrace kindfulness for health and wellness. This is not a religious or cultural thing. I'm not forcing people to become a Buddhist monk or Buddhist or to become this and that. You be whoever you are, but always remember, yeah, we all are human beings. So accept all human beings as human beings and be there for each other, help each other, be kind. So this kindfulness word comes from two words, kindness and mindfulness. And so it was actually coined by a very funny British Buddhist monk living in Australia. His name is Ajahn Brahm. So although he coined that word, I'm the monk who popularized that word by talking about it with this mission. So I have given a different meaning or interpretation to this word. So I said kindfulness means first, be mindful to be kind to yourself. Being kind to yourself is very important. That is part of self-care practice, self-love. And the second step is be mindful to be kind to others. So, like I have read a book authored by an American psychiatrist in 1960s, the title of the book is called I'm Okay, You're Okay. So if I'm not okay, then others cannot be okay, because so if I'm okay, then people around me are going to be okay. So if I am unkind, if I am unhealthy, if I'm unhappy, if I am being hard or negative, and then it's going to, of course, my unhappiness will spill around too. So I'm just encouraging people. There's a way to make yourself happy, peaceful, kind. So there's a way to become a kindful person. So that's why I have authored this book and I published this book last year, and I'm very glad to see people are showing great interest in reading this book, people from all walks of life around the world. And so to promote this health and wellness, I have founded an annual conference. I call it Kindful Canada Symposium, National Conference on Mental Health and Kindfulness. So I invite people, the speakers from different fields and backgrounds, and this. So from the science background, from the psychology background, from the neuroscience background, from the social global activists, and whoever is bringing a positive message to the world, I always invite them to come and speak. So at this conference, so in this day-long conference is a kindful and mindful environment we create, and as a community, mindful and kindful community we are trying to build. And by doing group meditation, by doing group Tai Chi practice, Qigong practice, yoga practice, and listening to these amazing, life-changing presentations by these prominent speakers. And so people are very happy to, so through this, we are trying to make an awareness of this concept, this mission, locally and also nationally and internationally. So there are lots that we can do. I know people are very kind by nature. So I'm just telling people, always remember you're a very kind person by nature, and be mindful not to change it to something else. if you allow yourself to become unkind, you are the one who is going to suffer from it, and at the same time, people around you are going to suffer from your unkindful deeds. So then we are creating some programs, and so we, especially for me, I talk about this a lot to the high school students. In Canada, we have this great opportunity to speak to the students. These are the teen boys and girls, and they come to us and to learn about kindfulness principle, to learn about meditation, to get the meditation training. And so I see people love it. These kids love it. And when I did, last August, last month, I went for a walk at a park near the lake, Ontario, and there was a group of young people. I think it's maybe 20, 21, 22 years old boys and girls. Two of them actually recognized me, and he said, "Oh, are you the urban Buddhist monk?" I said, "Yes." "Oh, my brother, my sister went to your center, and they highly talked about you, and you talked about kindfulness. You help them sing the kindful song." And so we really wanted to meet you And so they said that we can believe that we saw you here. So they took pictures. And so this is a kind of positive message we are sharing with the world. And people are greatly appreciating this message.
Wow. What a beautiful description, my friend. I must say, absolutely wonderful. As I said at the beginning, the way that you are impacting so many people, it's so inspiring. And especially in the fast-paced world that we live in today, being mindful, being kind, so important. I love the kindfulness philosophy. And I'd like to talk about one other important aspect of that, actually, is the first responders teaching that you do, because I find it very interesting. I know, as you've already mentioned, that you don't exclusively teach those people, but I do think that teaching first responders has profound implications and it's very meaningful. I'd like to talk a little bit about that, but also, I mean, in terms of what inspired that, but also in terms of some of the things behind it, because when you're saying first responders, I'm guessing this is the first aid, ambulance people, but also the police force. And that leads into some very interesting topics as to why some of these instances happen, why instances of violence and aggression and these types of things, accidents, because a lot of accidents happen from people being stressed and not mindful, as I'm sure you know. So you understand. I don't mind where we go with that, but it's quite a broad topic. But let's start with the work you do with first responders and where that came from, please.
Yeah. Well, for years, as I said, since 1995, I have been conducting these weekly mindfulness sessions,
Mm,
and I had a lot of people coming to these weekly sessions, and people from all walks of life. And the thing is, I never bothered to get their personal information, and so I'm just doing this for the public. Anyone can come. So I know all kinds of people come. So there were some police officers who attended our weekly sessions, and they had great experience, and they were highly talking about this with their colleagues. And so one time, two police officers came to my center to see me. And so we were having very friendly conversation over tea. And so we were talking about what we do. And they said, Bhante, we know everything you do. And so today we came here to ask for a favor. I said, what's the favor? What is it? Like, can you please give us, our police officers, especially new recruits, a meditation, kindfulness training. And I said, yes, that would be my joy to do this session for your colleagues. So we set up a day and time. This was in 2016, 2016 in March. And so I thought maybe five, six, maximum 10 officers would come for this session. And then guess what? That day, they had a police bus parked in front of the center on the road, and they all were in uniform. They all lined up to enter our center. So people around us were so surprised to see that many officers entering our center, and the neighbors thought, oh, there is the biggest criminal culprit hiding in this place. That's why all these officers going to get that culprit. so, so anyways, so then they came. There were 48 of them. 48 police officers came here. And so we had a 2-hour session. I gave an introduction to meditation and spiritual principles. and we also practiced meditation. And I took some pictures of that session. So I posted these pictures in my Facebook timeline, and guess what? Suddenly, these pictures started going viral in the world. There were so many shares, and people are talking about it. And following day, media started calling us. So even our chief abbot was surprised that, and people are talking about, they were calling us. And so when the media came, this is what's going on here. What kind of program did you do? The social media is talking about this, your program. So I said, well, just a group of police officers came here for meditation training and mindfulness training. I just did the session. And those days, oh my goodness, then CNN approached us. They featured our program, and other the Huffington Post Canada, Huffington Post USA, even some big magazines in Europe. They also approached us, and they featured us. Even people from Asia and Africa. I just did a simple thing, but that brought a huge awareness of police meditation in Canada. So, and I started receiving a lot of attention from the media, from different organizations, to do the same sessions for other police forces across North America, which I did actually. So I feel very happy about it. And across Canada, we have done the similar program for the various police departments, and also the paramedics and firefighters, and even Canadian Army became interested. They wanted to initiate this program for the soldiers, but then, as we were talking about, then COVID hit. So then after that, I don't know what happened. So I didn't chase them. I didn't pursue that kind of thing. But I think maybe they are still interested in this kind of program. But through this simple program, I was able to make a huge awareness around the world, because police forces, first responders are doing the high stress job. You know that. They are not seeing the good things every day. They are seeing the bad things. But one thing I know, that although police officers, firefighters, paramedics, and are there to help you, but they are not encouraged to get help. I mean, if you ask for help, they think that is your weakness, right? So because of that, they don't show that. But we all are human beings. So there would come a day you can't handle it anymore, and you will fall into deep depression. And even that's why we see suicide attempts in the first responder community. And so I'm doing this to prevent that, and also this is the best kindfulness that I can show to them. And so because of this now, Toronto police actually made me their chaplain. So as a chaplain, I bring this mindfulness, kindfulness sessions to them. And I think it's good for everyone. And it's a simple thing that I teach. It's just daily. They have to make time to do this kind of practice, and it is good for them to do a good job without any stress and anxieties. So I strongly believe in meditation. I was able to help so many people, and it's good for everyone around the world.
Absolutely. It is. It absolutely is. I mean, not to go off topic, Bante, but something that relates to the next question that you said there, because I would like to talk about stress, but I would also like to talk about joy because forgive me for being abstract, but when I was first became interested in Buddhism as a teenager, I mean, let's put it this way. 1995, you've been teaching longer than I've been alive, you know? So that's what part of why it's such an honor to talk with you, you know? But I must say here that when I first met some monks and began reading and following this, the joy that comes from people who meditate regularly, more than happiness now, actual joy, and that comes from you. Now, when I was growing up, I was looking at this thinking, how can this be? Because from that very young understanding, I was thinking, you know, these guys don't make money, they don't do the things everyone's chasing in the same way everyone's chasing it, they don't have relationships. I was a teenager, so I was thinking, okay, they don't have sex and things. Sorry to bring it up, but it's a true example. I was thinking, how are they so happy? You know, and one of the things I would like to touch on with you, because you're such an experienced speaker, you can talk about more than one topic in one. I mean that as a compliment. I'd like to talk about how people can manage stress because I believe that stress is one of the biggest causes of most health problems, mental and physical, not all, but the majority of them. But I would also like to go a step beyond that, as well as removing stress, of finding joy, because when I'm sitting in your presence, I can feel the joy, and it's a wonderful feeling. I'd imagine people learn just from being with you physically or even like this. But that's the question, because the levels of stress in the world have increased. I would say life has got faster. So, what are some ways that people can tackle those kinds of issues as you were just talking about just now, please? Thank you.
Yeah, so that's a good question. How do you do all the work without stress, right? So,
Basically.
yeah, and of course, first of all, you have to enjoy what you're doing. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, it's going to be stressful anyways.
Very true. Very true.
Right? So, um, so then you also need to be very passionate about what you're doing. Like for me personally, I'm very passionate about what I do, helping people, talking to people, and bringing light into the people's life, and people greatly appreciate that. And to become joyful or to feel joy and happiness, you have to do something meaningful for others. In addition to you, you have to do something meaningful for others in whatever you can. Like so, through your deeds, through because of you, if someone could become happy, or because of you, if someone is doing well, that is the best thing you could do for the humanity, and that is going to make you very happy and joyful. So the joy, happiness comes from doing something good for others. So I think in my life, this is what I have been doing throughout my life as a monk. And we would do chanting, we would bless people, we would wish health and wellness to the people. We do compassionate visits, we perform services, and basically we are building a generation of children with good values, which they greatly appreciate. And I don't know whether you have seen like how I attend some weddings and give blessings, wedding pictures. These are the kids actually who they are our students. We have given them good values from their childhood, and so they are grown up, they're big shots now, and they include us in their important days. So I feel very happy for that, for being able to do something good. and also helping others, like in addition to helping people spiritually, religiously, you also help people maybe economically or materially, whatever you can, I receive time to time, I receive some donations, honorariums for my public speaking programs, and so I use these donations to help people. So we help the students, children from the poorest families to get good education, to brighten their future through education, helping, giving them scholarships, and also helping especially people during the tough time, natural disasters, even during the COVID time. We helped people in 16 countries. So people greatly appreciated this work. So now when you reflect on those kindful works you have done, the hope and light you brought into people's life, that actually comes back to you, and when you reflect on that, you feel very joyful, very happy, and it makes you a strong person, a healthy person. And so then you have to enjoy what you're doing, plus do meditation daily. It's very important to manage your stress. One thing that people should be mindful of: anything you do too much or too little is going to cause stress. Right? These are two extremes. So Buddha's advice is a very first advice. His monks, don't go to an extreme. Don't follow an extreme. Always follow the middle way, middle path. Always stay in the middle. So it's like riding the bicycle, right? So when you ride the bicycle, first you have to be mindful of where the brakes are, where the pedals are, right? So then you have to uh, paddle. You have to keep paddling. If you stop paddling, then you're going to fall. So how do you paddle your life to keep yourself in the middle? Well, you have to get good sleep. You have to eat some good food. You have to do physical exercise. You have to do mental exercise like meditation, and have very quality time with the family members and with friends, and everything should be done with moderation. Yeah, and then you won't feel any stress, and never ever procrastinate what you do. Thinking you have time, you do it later. But when you try to do later, then it will create a huge pressure in your life, and a stress. So be punctual, and always do the right thing. That's the most important thing. And do so with a heart of kindfulness. This is good for you, good for others. So, and if you could do these things, then you could have a good life without any stress. And also, why do I emphasize on meditation? Doing meditation is like becoming a turtle. It's also called the turtle attitude or behavior or mentality. So in any adverse situation, the turtle goes inside its own hard shell. So there's a story I tell people. It's a story about the turtle and the fox. So one day, the turtle was walking by the bank of a river searching for food. And at the same time, a fox also came out from its own den looking for food. The fox saw the turtle and he said, "Oh, today is my good day. I have a good food. The turtle, I'm going to go and get him." With this in mind, he started aiming at the turtle. Turtle also saw the fox the enemy. He said, oh, fox is my enemy. He saw me. Now he's coming to get me. What can I do now? So shall I run? He said, running is not going to help because the fox can run faster than me. And so I don't want to die. I don't want to become the victim. I want to live. So how can I save my life? Ah, I have my hard shell. If I go inside my own hard shell, this fox won't be a match for me. So he was relieved. So he stayed there. The fox came closer and jumped to catch the turtle, and the turtle withdrew, went inside his own hard shell. So meantime, the fox was hovering around. Anytime this turtle puts the head and limbs outside, I'm going to catch it, tear it off, and eat it up. So the turtle also realized I'm safe here. Now, although I'm tired, although I'm hungry and thirsty, at this point, saving my life is more important than searching for food and risking my life. So it remained inside a hard shell, patiently, calmly, and at the end of the day, the fox was tired of hovering and it abandoned the mission. It left the turtle. When the fox was gone, turtle realized, now my enemy is gone. It's safe to come out. So it came out and started searching for food again. So in the same way, Liam, in our life, there are so many foxes, physical. Physical, it could be work, people, family, so on and so forth, friends and colleagues. And there are definitely a lot of emotional, psychological foxes. Those are stress, anxiety, depression, fear, sadness, pain, guilt, and so on and so forth. So when such emotional fox comes to get you, what do? Be mindful to become a turtle. Go inside your own heart shell. So that is meditation. So every day, if you think you have these emotional foxes coming to get you, so be mindful to become a turtle every day for 10, 15 minutes, at least 15 minutes. So do meditation, be with the breath, and be in the present moment. So I teach a technique which people enjoy, So this is how you can manage your stress.
Wow. I love that, Bhante.
Yeah.
That is a wonderful story. Beautiful story. I will remember that example because it's a really good way of explaining it. And there's so many wonderful things that you share, by the way. I love that there's so many lessons contained, even what you were saying earlier about the weddings and what you're saying about procrastination, because the only moment we have is the present, obviously, the kindfulness, warm heartedness. And I can say for our viewers as well, personally, I do meditate each day, by the way, and it's had a profound effect, beginning with enjoying time. Time started passing slower, and I started to be more present and more connected with the people I love, less angry, less stressed, and it just sort of went from there. But it's really important, and not to ramble too much. We'll come to the next question now, but I just think it's so important because in this day and age when everything is so fast paced, everything's so busy, growing up with social media, my generation, there's a lot of stress with comparison and competition instead of being connected. So, and even in my own life, as we said earlier, the happiest people are always those who serve. I observed that when I was growing up, but people who are kind to each other. I noticed that the mean, nasty people, because I knew a few of those too, the meaner they were, the more unhappy they got, and the kinder people were, the happier they got. And it might sound oversimplistic, but that's part of the reason I love your philosophy. Even when I used to work with people who were very famous, athletes, they had a lot of money, it didn't make any difference, only if they were giving it or doing something with it. And it's such a wonderful philosophy, and I think it's so simple. People might overlook it at times, but it's a truth that has really stood the test of time. So that is a beautiful, beautiful question. As we move forward into a few other topics, a couple of other things. I mean, I'll aim for sort of maybe half an hour more because people's attention spans are also shorter, although meditation helps that too, doesn't it? Yeah, meditation helps this a lot. As we've already touched on this a little bit, but I'd like to go deeper into it with success. And what I mean by that is in the world today, because I'll only have time to talk with you about a few key topics, so I tried to pick the most relevant ones. And many people are striving for success, but when they get there, they are unhappy because they place too much emphasis on external results. And recently, I was listening to something on Mind Valley. You've probably heard of that about lawyers and about how so many, millions of people go to law school, but in the legal profession, rates of depression, anxiety, these sorts of things are massive. I can't remember the statistics, and that got me thinking. Well, so many people aim for success, but I've met a lot of people, even to the level of world champion athletes or Olympians, or people who do amazing things. They get there, but they're not always happy at the end. The pot of gold at the end of the rainbow doesn't always materialize. And I'm not saying to anybody not to chase gold, by the way, because that's fine. But what is your definition of success as a monk, as a person who, on the one hand, has renounced worldly pursuits. But on the other hand, from a certain perspective, you've had a lot of success in the world as being a published author, an international speaker, being famous, you are famous. So that, because you walk both paths from a certain point of view, I'm curious to find out what your definition of success is. And I'm sorry that's a long question, but I like to give the context sometimes as to why I'm asking something. So I apologize. But
Uh,
what's your definition of success from your life journey and experiences, please? Thank you.
Well, as you said, different people have different definitions for success. And like, first of all, uh, we all must have uh, a vision. We must have a vision. So we must, based on that vision, like people again could have different visions, by the way, but you have to believe for a fact that you have a lot of potentials, you have power to become anyone you want to become in the world. But then you need to be very passionate about what you do. And once you become passionate about what you do, then you have to go for it. So there are three words that I always keep in mind. I call them in Pali, ancient language, called Arabhata. Arabhata means start now. Nikhamata, go for it now. Yunjata, do it now. So once you have clear vision, and once you have become passionate about what you want to do, and when you begin now, go for it now, do it now, then of course you achieve your goal. So now for me, success is about you and others. It's not just one party. Because of you, if somebody is doing well, And if that person comes back to you with a heart full of gratitude, or with a little token of appreciation, a thank you card, with a little gift, guess what? That is success.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Because, my friend, very simply, I mean, I know you mentioned earlier about the kindfulness, so I'm bringing that topic up to connect it to the kindfulness because these days so many people associate success with, I would say, a form of ruthlessness or a form of self-interest when it is not associated with that.
Yeah.
Uh, so I'm really glad you've clarified that, especially as you do working around cities. And it's a personal interest of mine as well because I've seen a lot of people, as I already said, achieve that success, but if they're not of service. So it's a wonderful, and what you said earlier about the middle way and not too much excess, that comes into it these days as well. And as we move into the last couple of topics here, I would also like to touch on you yourself personally because when you are famous and influential and you're having that positive impact. I hope you don't mind me asking this, but obviously you stay very humble and you stay very kind, but obviously you practice what you preach. I mean, that goes without saying. But in terms of not identifying with your as a status, because you have every right to be there because you're helping so many people, but you stay so kind and, how do you manage that around, particularly around fame or being well known, well respected, appreciated by people? I understand the concept of the thankfulness and the karma in the true meaning of karma. I understand what you mean. But basically, how do you keep your feet on the ground, as they say, when you're traveling all around the world speaking and doing all of these things? If you don't mind me asking that question, if it's not too bold of me. Thank you.
Yeah. No, it's actually I think uh, people have this tendency to have a big ego
Yeah.
when they achieve something, right?
Yes,
And
it's true.
this big ego will become one day very unbearable. So that once it becomes very unbearable, then you're going to suffer from it. So you have to put that ego aside and always also keep in mind we are not here to live for good. We are just here for the time being. There will come a day we will be saying goodbye to one another. That day, people are not going to measure you with uh, how much expensive car you have driven around, or how expensive house you had, or what kind of expensive ornaments you were wearing, or how expensive shoes you were wearing. People will measure your success with the good qualities, like what you have done for the society, for others. And so if you have a big ego, then it's not going to be beneficial to you and beneficial to others. So uh, for me, I always keep in mind, um, like this is a advice I received from my teachers. Like I learned this from first from my grandfather. who was a village man, but very simple. He was like a vegetable and fruits businessman, and I had the privilege of hanging around with him time to time. And I have noticed how my grandfather would, go around and talk to everyone pleasantly with a smiling face, and how he would just drop some vegetables and fruits. He said, "This is for you," you know. And those days, I didn't question this and why he was doing it. But then I felt the real compassion and the love for the people. Like, he was not a selfish man. He was a very selfless, very generous man. And I have seen the same thing in my parents. My father was a very innocent man, and my mother was a very innocent, very humble lady who would greet everyone with a smiling face. Although she doesn't know people, she would, how are you doing? With a smiling face. So it's okay, be well. We wish you happiness. And that is based on loving kindness. And then I have seen my teacher in Bangladesh, who is 100 years old now. This monk devoted his entire life by helping uh, people from the disprivileged families. And he became the beacon of light to so many refugees, homeless people. And then in Sri Lanka, my high ordination teacher was also like that. Very simple, very humble, and always doing something good for the society. And then my meditation teachers were also like that. And they always emphasized that always remember this: we are not here forever. One day we are going to die. So before we die, we have to do something good for others, and always keep your ego very low and remove that ego. And if somebody, when you do something, also don't expect anything in return. Don't even expect thank you from them. Always believe doing good deeds is a good karma. It's a good thing. Though people discourage you, why from doing good, why do you have to do this? But remember, it's you actually who is going to face the consequences, all the good results of the good work you do. So they said, don't do anything that would hurt others, and always do something that could be a blessing to others. And always lower your ego and be very simple, be happy, be contented with whatever you have, and always live a very simple life. So and also when you talk, he said, there are three things. It's called physical actions with loving kindness, and verbal actions with loving kindness, and mental actions with loving kindness. So whatever you do, physically, verbally, mentally, do so with loving kindness, with goodwill, and And then devote yourself to the practice of meditation. And always remember, everything changes. Life is a journey. So navigate your life with humbleness, with goodwill, with compassion, with respect, uh, with dignity, and with generosity. So, and then if you could do this, and of course, you will be happy, and at the same time, others will be happy, and you will be remembered for all the good work that you do.
That is beautiful, my friend. Beautiful description once again, and so many lessons contained within that. You know, I'm going to listen to this back and make notes, by the way. Um, what you said there is a big part of the reason why I came to Cyprus, by the way. What you described with your grandfather and the kindness, there's a lot of that here. But I love it from your point of view because of the urban monk. I mean, you are surrounded by the busyness and the sort of chaotic things in the cities and these types of concepts. So I love how you remain such a kind and loving and compassionate, gentle person despite all of those things, because it's one thing staying in the monastery, and I know you're in a Buddhist center, but you know what I mean. And it's another thing to come out, and there's no disrespect to anybody, but to come out and be surrounded by uh, these things that people are doing, I'm not going to say wrong, but things that people are doing in an unhealthy way, mentally, physically, as you say, with karma, and to remain the way that you are is very admirable, I must say, by the way. I just wanted to say that to you. Um, because,
And also, it's also another thing I think I have to emphasize on this, Liam. Uh, like our teachers would give an example. He said, when be like a fruit tree, a tree full of fruits. Now, when you see a tree full of fruits, you know the the tree lowers itself so that others can benefit, be like a tree like that. Anyone can come to you and take shelter, and those visitors who are feeling tired in a hot day, they can seek your refuge under the tree, and the shade provides the coolness, and there are birds living on the branches, and at the same time there are many animals, all kinds of animals coming there, including the humans, and everybody is enjoying the fruits it's bearing. So that be like a tree.
very much. Well, my friend, absolutely. That is what you're doing. And as you know, we will wrap this up in a minute shortly. But I would like to say as well that as much as this type of development is about practice more than it's about knowledge, although knowledge is very important, I would say that there are so many lessons contained within for the practical application. And I appreciate that because I've done my best to bring up topics that have a degree of contrast within them. In other words, like you have night and day, and you have different sides of the things. So that is also very useful as a way of teaching. And I suppose the last thing for me to do is just to say a big thank you for this, because when you've taken the time to share everything that you've shared, it's, as I've said, it's not just the knowledge, it's your presence, your presence here with me, and to a large extent, your presence with the people who are listening to this, watching this. anywhere around the world, and I will do my best to put this around everywhere that I can in different parts of the world. And that in itself is such a blessing, and I just appreciate it because I know I was chasing you for a little while, only because I was so excited to speak to you. By the way, I mean simply put. But before we close out, is there anything else that you would like to mention to our viewers, especially in terms of how they can get involved in what you do as well? I would like to give that a very brief mention because I've seen your YouTube channel and it's wonderful, by the way. Obviously, your book is out there, social media is out there. So I hope that people come to meet you in person, but also if they want to follow the journey online, um, because that's very powerful as well. I mean, the impact you have online, like some of the Buddhist teachers I follow, like Thich Nhat Hanh, for instance, had a very big impact on me. But he's passed away, but he still has a very big impact, like you were saying earlier, by the way, about the trees and everything, just as an example. Um, don't I'm not saying you'll pass away. I'm sure you'll be 100, like your teacher, still teaching these things. But I'm just saying that the impact, as you know, when you're watering the seeds, they grow into trees. And also the fact that you are very accessible, for relevant inquiries. So would you mind just sharing if there's anything else you'd like to say to our audience, and also where people can contact you and find you, and then we will close out for the afternoon, the evening. But let's talk about that, please. Thank you.
Yeah, so yes, Liam, people can find me online. I give a strong presence in the social media. I may not be responding to the messages people send immediately, but I respond to them when I'm free. They can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. But I don't go crazy on TikToks. I don't do those kind of crazy things. But I'm using social media to bring the positivity, to share the positive message. So I have a daily habit of saying good morning and happy Wednesday and sending a blessings for a happy and peaceful day with a positive message. And I know that actually brings a lot of positivity to the people. People look forward to that message every day. So people can follow me on social media, and also they can visit our website, my personal website, urbanbuddhistmonk.org, or our mission website, Canada, a mindfulnation.ca, to learn about how we are building a mindful and kind nation. And people also can subscribe me in the YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, the Urban Buddhist Monk, and so they can join my weekly programs either virtually or in person. If those who are here in Canada or in Toronto, they can come to our center in Mississauga, 3133 Cultural Road, Mississauga, West Toronto, and they can always join us our live virtual programs. Every Wednesday, I have a meditation class. Today's Wednesday, local to Toronto time, 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And I also have a Saturday morning Dhammapada study session and a bi-weekly Sutra study session. I give Facebook and YouTube live. And people also can read my book, Are You Kindful? They can find this book at Amazon or Freeson Press website. And also people, if they are coming to our center, they can get a book from me. And so I just want to encourage people. This is a kindful request. Please embrace kindfulness for your own health and wellness, for your peace and happiness. Be mindful to be kind to yourself. Always care for yourself. If you don't love yourself, no one is there to love you. If you don't care for yourself, no one is there to care for you. So, and at the same, once you love yourself, once you care for yourself, once you become kind to yourself, then of course you can be kind to others. You can be caring, and you could be loving. Uh, so, this is how we make not only personal life a better, healthier, happier, more peaceful, kinder, but also we can make other people also like that. So all we need is just kindfulness. Love yourself and love everyone. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others, and be generous. Whatever you have, I mean, if you really believe in happiness and joy, practice giving. Practice giving, practice generosity, and also live your life with virtues, with morality. Try to refrain from hurting others, and try to be respectful to all lives, all forms of life. Be generous, and in relationship, respect your relationship, your commitment, and try to refrain from lying and speak the truth. And also, if possible, try to stay away from substances, drugs, alcohol. These are dangerous things. And so if you could, and then speak good words all the time, smile, smile. The laughter is the best medicine. It has the healing power, and it has the power to bring people closer to you. But it should be very genuine one, not the fake one. Yeah, so, and also do loving kindness meditation every day. And I would like to encourage people to sing the kindergarten song, row, row, row the boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. So don't worry. Life is, everything is impermanent. Keep going. Keep rowing the boat of life happily, peacefully, kindly.
Well, thank you so much for your kindful presence, by the way, which is exactly what it is, and for taking the time out of a busy schedule to speak with me. I would like to say personally, I have learned and gained so much, and I'm sure that many others will as well. As I said to you at the beginning, if it touches only one person, then we've done our work. Now, I know it will touch more than that, but you understand what I mean. And it is beautiful work that you're doing just by your presence. As the old saying goes, be the change that you want to see in the world. As you were talking about earlier, of if I'm okay, you're okay. I like that analogy as well. You see, I was listening carefully with presence, and that's a very good example as well because obviously it does start within. So you personally embody that these teachings in a very beautiful way, and it expands outwards from there. And to be perfectly honest, it's deeply humbling. I will bid you a good night from Cyprus because, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm very tired after such a long day. But nonetheless, I will meditate, spend a little bit of time with my parents as well this evening, even though it's late. Go and see them because that's the most important, and then sleep. But it's been such an honor. It's been genuinely a dream come true, and genuinely this has exceeded my expectations. By the way, Bhante, I really mean that. I knew it would be a good talk, but it's even better than I thought. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Liam. You're a truly kindful man, and thank you for having me on your podcast. As I wish you and your audience all happiness. May you be well, happy, and peaceful.
Thank you. I wish you all the best also, and I will definitely keep an eye on everything you're doing and support any way I can. Thank
Thank
you. Have a wonderful day, my friend. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.